Let's talk about the value of Chelsea Green. I think Chelsea Green is someone who, when you look pound for pound at her role in the company and how she performs in it, in terms of how she handles her role, which is not in the main event, but is a very consistently booked, regularly used character, whether it in matches or promos or backstages or social media stuff. You can see how valuable she is to the company by how much she's used and the spot she is put in. I think a lot of people who are trying to find their way in wrestling should study her because she had to find her way in wrestling. Go look at her cage match. Go look at how many places she has worked, the ups and the downs in WWE, out of WWE, NWA, TNA. The original All In she worked at. Chelsea Green has kind of become like the Forrest Gump of wrestling in the last 10 years. Gee, she's what, the therapist or whatever in one of the Daniels, the Daniel Bryan angles from years ago? And look how they used her last week. She's a great red herring. Roxanne, you know something big's coming, and Chelsea Green comes out to get her title shot again. But it's just there. Why? So she could make Julia look good without Roxanne taking any bumps, without giving up that physical confrontation. Roxanne gets to see right in front of her eyes, oh boy, this is what Julia can do. Chelsea Green has done acting classes. Chelsea Green has learned on her own, learned from her husband. The run they went on the indies together, being able to get that kind of heat, hearkening back to stuff from ECW, what they did in GCW, her willing to take bumps, her willing to get in there with the guys, what she did in Lucha Underground. Like I said, go look at her cage match profile. Cagematch.net, for people who don't know what that is. You can find pretty much any match anyone's ever wrestled, when it happened, all that. That is someone who I would want to have when I started a wrestling company. That is someone who takes no time off in terms of, am I needed? Did I work last night? Yeah, okay, you need me here, I'm there. Who doesn't take a night off when she's booked. Who puts everything into everything she does. To the point that I think, while the end of the Women's Royal Rumble this year was very star-studded and was a lot about Jade and obviously Bayley winning and all that stuff, and you saw the big name talent that was sitting on the ground looking at Bayley celebrating. The first half of that Royal Rumble this year was the Chelsea Green Rumble. I told her that to her. I said, you own that Rumble. Not about winning it, not about eliminating people, but her presence in that Rumble was awesome. Was fun. She added to the Rumble. She adds to all of her segments. This is someone who has wrestled in Stardom. There's a famous, if you haven't seen the clip, that drop kick she takes in the face. She is a world traveler. She used to live in Australia and work at Hooters. Like, you name it, she's done it in life. And has now found her spot. To the point that there's that balance. That she's so good at what she does that people want to start rooting for her. And I think I felt a little of that when she wrestled Roxanne. I think it was Roxanne a few months back at NXT. I interviewed her on Busted Open. And people were behind her. And she has that kind of reputation because she's worked in front of that NXT crowd that knows her, that they were cheering for her. They cheered for her last week. She got a little bit of a pop last night. Obviously, she was there to put over Julia, and she made that look good. But she was able to add to the presentation of Julia. And that was about showcasing Julia last night. And they did that. And Chelsea Green deserves credit for that. And I do think there's the danger of her getting over, and then you want to cheer her, and then I think you kind of lose a little bit of that. Because I think the whole thing is that she is stirring the pot, and she is sometimes oblivious. And I love that she'll go on social media like only she does and take these down. I can't believe you showed that. I'm not showing up to work today. Just plays right through it. She is not going to step out of character and acknowledge that. She's not going to thank her fans in a genuine way. That's what I like about her. She keeps it on all the time, but in a way that she can keep it on all the time, and I'm entertained by her all the time. There's a lot of value in that. I compare that to what Chad Gable has done. I compare that to what Miz has done. I always say if I had to start a wrestling company, Miz would be a top 10 pick. Why? Because I know I can put him anywhere on the card. I know he can represent the company. I know he can deal with celebrities. I know he can help get people over. I know he can now play a baby face and a heel. I think Chelsea Green is following a similar path, and guess what? That's going to get you paid, booked, and under contract for a long time. Yeah, used to be on Tough Enough. That is someone, when you hear, oh, I wish they would push her, or I wish they would do more. If you're looking, she's always seems to be there. She gets time to talk. She can work. She can put people over. She fills up minutes in the best way possible. And I know a lot, I could see the chat here talking up how good she is. And I do think that is being acknowledged a lot more now. But to her credit, she's not trying to be a cool heel. There is a way that you can acknowledge that and still keep the crowd at arm's length. That you're not fully embracing them. Where she's very much like, you should be cheering for me. Look at all my adoring. That's how you handle that. So, up and coming wrestlers, people trying to find their way, watch what she has done. And understand that when you get to appear on as much as she does, win, lose, or draw, egg on her face or not looking good, the fact that she is used in so many different ways, and you never come out of a segment going, ooh, that wasn't very good. That is value, and that is a push in its own. And maybe one day that will lead to a women's championship reign. It could absolutely work. Chelsea as a Money in the Bank winner would be fantastic. I understand why they went with Tiffany, but Chelsea Green as a Money in the Bank holder, as Miss Money in the Bank, would be great television. It would make perfect sense with Piper to protect her, to cash in on a babyface. That makes sense. That works. So, praise for Chelsea Green. The value of her is strong right now, and she is someone whose stock I would want to own in WWE.